Good day. We are Group 3, and this is our presentation on ESG, which is the environment, social, and governance issues. Two companies we chose to compare with regards to the performance of ESG and their ethics is Netbank and FNB. We have prepared an analysis that addresses different aspects from the approaches that the two companies use and the risks that the companies are exposed to and the recommendations which we have for them in terms of their ESG strategies. Through an analysis and throughout this presentation, we'll be taking you through where both companies demonstrate forward thinking, show consistencies to ESG factors, and areas where they need to improve. We have determined that a strategic focus is needed within FNB on their operations, their investment, and business models. The bank can do the bank can do they can do so by getting involved in a more economic and social development and sustainable finance um, innovations, as quoted from KPMG. The organization was successful, however, in establishing a dedicated sustainable finance and ESG advisory team. Um, and the organization's environment and social governance performance is independently evaluated on an annual basis through first rank listings on the JSC's socially responsible investment. When looking at Netbank, however, we found that the organization is needing improvement in areas such as brand reputation and accommodating diversity. And the organization can do more to invest in social economic factors of or social factors of ESG, which cause social unrest in SA. Legal battles due to potential breach of confidentiality and securities um, at their premises at their third-party service provider will pose the risk of discouraging stakeholders' confidence in the quality and security of the information and investment within the bank. The bank, however, has done well to focus on driving sustainable socioeconomic developments for the benefit of all stakeholders, and the organization intends to focus on initiatives that combat climate change, alleviate poverty and inequality. This is our executive summary, and we'll be taking you through the presentation. There is a growing evidence globally that companies that focus on making sustainable parts of their DNA are more resilient to change in markets, perform better over time, and provide better results to stakeholders. The two companies we will be working with regards to ESG is FNB and Nedbank. First Rand Bank, or commonly known as First FNB, came into existence in 1989 as a result of a merge between Rand Merchant Bank Holdings and Anglo American. Nedbank was founded in 1888, originally as the Netherlands Bank of South Africa, and primarily offers include wholesale retail banking services, asset management, wealth management, and insurance services. The first aspect we'll be looking at are the key challenges facing Nedbank within ESG. And this is a focus for the future. We found that governance, although its disclosure score declined when compared to 2019, in the banking sector, governance is the fundamental pillar that makes up for 80% of overall disclosure, and this is as per Insights 2020. Within Nedbank, we also found social factors like reputation, brand diversity, and diversity are very important, and there's room for improvement within the organization in this department. We also found that leadership must pay attention to social factors of ESG, which have caused an unrest in SA in the past, and set standards within the ESG as well. And we refer to picture 1 on the bottom right, which shows they should look at what management should look at, or the approach that management have taken rather. And as you go through the picture, you will notice that there's 3 aspects that I've focused on, which is operation, corporate social investment, and sustainable development finance. And this is what Nedbank, or this is the framework rather, that Nedbank is using going forward. I'll be handing over to my colleague Bongs, who will be taking you through FNB's focus for the future. Over to you, Bongs.
Thank you, Kat. I'll continue with the key ESG challenges facing FNB. ESG is not only something you do, it is everything you do. FNB should seek financial advisory companies like KPMG on advice, development, goals, and strategies plans. Their focus should be on their operations, investments, and business models. Climate change and decarbonization on priority list of customers and individuals. More economics and social development, sustainable finance. Penya will take through with the issues relating legal matters.
Thank you, Bongani. I will be talking about the legal issues that the two companies faced. With regards to FNB, the company faced a variety of legal issues. For example, clients that are unhappy with unfavorable fraud case outcomes from the bank, public organizations that believe the bank was banking corrupt person, and money launderers who are engaging with the bank under false pretenses. The Tauhado Fishing Enterprise Propriety Limited requested for an interdict to prevent FNB from closing its bank accounts due to its ties with the Sekunjalo Group and relations with Dr. Suve. Dr. Suve and the Sekunjalo Group have appeared in the Mpati report, a commission report set to investigate the investments by the Public Investment Corporation. FNB's termination of the bank account was on the grounds of associated reputational and business risk, which would expose the bank to reputational and business risk. With regards to Nedbank, the company had potential legal battles. One was due to the potential breach of confidentiality, security issues that occurred at the premises of a third-party service provider, namely Computer Facilities Pty Limited, a direct marketing company that issues SMS and email marketing information on behalf of Nedbank and several other companies. The company feels that they can play a central role in driving sustainable socio-economic development from the benefit of all stakeholders, creating a future by providing capital for investment in the real economy, thereby combating climate change, poverty, and inequality, which are key issues for them. The company's financing choices should enable and not undermine the necessary transition to a net zero economy, while also building climate resilience through the funding of adaptation. One of Nedbank's distinguishing features is its commitment to all its stakeholders, the environment and the communities in which it operates. Sustainable leadership. This is seen and exercised through the company's integrated approach, which entails 4 pillars: cultural, economic, environmental, and social sustainability. A recent huge achievement for Nedbank Group was becoming the first financial services organization in Africa to achieve carbon neutrality. The Network Foundation also plays an important role in contributing to the group's corporate social investment efforts. Going back to the FNB case, there have been instances in the organization that questioned the ethical standards. In 2019, FNB customers found themselves 100,000 of rand richer after incorrect balances were reflected on the account. According to the bank's transactional banking spokesperson, Daniel Khan, this was because of delayed debit card transactions of the customers concerned. It was said that that customers have no legal basis to keep the money and would be under a legal obligation to repay the money once they have been notified of error, said senior banking and financial lawyer Worksman attorneys, Denny Adropoulos. The organization will have to work on monitoring solutions for the applications and systems to mitigate the risk of such errors happening in the future. I will now hand over to Pumulani, who will take us to the next section.
Thank you, Tanya. Like all organizations, both organizations have to manage operational and business risks. FNB may be exposed to a myriad of risks, ranging from environmental, physical damage, material financial loss, and many other appropriate risks. From a net bank point of view, as Ella indicated, the bank was faced with business risk, ranging from its association with Rachman's Capital, a financial services that actually is questionable, with questionable links to the state capture that was recently concluded. I'll now hand over to Mahlatsi to take us through the next phase of our presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Bones. I'm going to address how both banks measure and report ethics and ESG. The ranking is based on TF-IDF scores that are independent, where they are used by other stakeholders, investors, corporates, to identify key ESG disclosure risks and opportunities for companies that are listed on the JSE. Listed companies with integrated reports, voluntary and mandatory reports, ESG GPS uses an algorithm to gather and rate intuitions. These companies are monitored all year, and the numbers are disclosed on the news and to the public. In the case of Nedbank, the company called on Risk Insights, who concluded their ratings. The database and rating platform contains data for all JSE listed companies from 2016 to date. FNB's environmental, social, and governance performance is independently evaluated on an annual basis through FirstRand's listing on the JSE Socially Responsible Investment Index. Next, it's information relating to how both companies manage their ESG risk. And for Nedbank, their risk rating is low at 17.2, and FirstRand Bank's one is high with 30.6. When it comes to the exposure, they are both on medium. And when it comes to managing the risk, Nedbank seems to have a strong ability on doing that. Regarding the disclosures of ESG, FNB was not nominated by any audit company in South Africa in 2021. Therefore, FNB are lagging as a company. FNB is still involved in many different projects, which is pictured in picture 4 below. When it comes to environmental, the bank has its own environmental policies and compliance paper saving initiatives. energy and water conservations and their environmental awards, social community projects. When it comes to sustainability, FNB does cover ESG as far as possible. When it comes to Nedbank, they perform the best in the banking industry according to the ESG disclosures ranking. In 2020, the data analytics company Risk Insights released the JSE banking sector ESG disclosure ranking scores in 2021. This was comparing the 2019 financial year. Environmental aspects when it comes to ESG for Nedbank. Nedbank maintained this top position as the leader for environmental disclosure. The banking sector average score is low at 7.5%. The social aspect of ESG for Nedbank is that Nedbank is #1 in social materiality with improvement from 2019 on social disclosure. On governance, it is not the first time Nedbank is #1 on this category, although its disclosure score declined when compared to 2019. In the banking sector, governance is the fundamental pillar that makes up more than 80% of overall disclosure. And on this slide, these are basically the statistics that disclose per ranking for ESG, which shows that Nedbank is basically leading. I will hand over to Phoebes to discuss the recommendations.
Thanks, Madam. I would like to give some feedback on our recommendations. Firstly, I'll start with Nedbank. Nedbank recommend that we put money in the South African mining industries and energy sectors, focus on sustainable development and transformation. Nedbank should expand the function of their new business hub in order to enhance digitization. Also invest in new technologies, ecosystems, and corporate innovation in the property finance sector for the future. FNB, on the other hand, recommendations from us is to be ready for new entrants in the banking sectors, like our competitions. It's your fintechs, your big techs, your telcos, and other banks. On the technology side, focus on the cryptocurrencies and innovations like blockchain, invest in high-tech employee skills development. Also with FNB, we recommend they stay ahead and invest in digitization by also partnering with other organizations for floor space, like we currently have in the Pick n Pay stores, digital terminals. Focus on recruiting skilled and experienced executive appointees. Lastly, on our recommendations for key takeouts, agriculture in South Africa, the driving force of the South African economy, build close relationships between the financial organizations in the different farming sectors with financial support. And then lastly, our new outreach to the aviation sector after the COVID-19 period, where aviation needs a really good boost and need a facelift. This will improve the socio-economic factors. And then lastly, my colleague will just go through the names.
Thank you. These are the Group 3 members: Mahlatse Fortune Mabitsala, Khumlani Smiso Kambushe, Gugulethu Faith Mkabela, Catherine Reditsitswe, Mulakeng, Penyo Sontaga, Setlachile, Phoebe Anna Van Dyke Anker, Bongani Nkosi. Thank you. And lastly, it's our list of references. Thanks.